going, people? We are back again. Usual suspects, Saned, Mo, Farouk, and we have someone special. We have a man like Big Steve in the building. Big Steve of the famous Big Six show. I'm pretty sure, some of you guys are aware of the thing they've been doing since the past couple of years. And it's an absolute honor to have Steve on the show to discuss this massive tie, a repeat of a previous very eventual semi-final tie we have. But before we get into it, Steve, talk to us. Talk to us how the blue side of Manchester have been feasting, as of
We're doing all right. We're doing okay. We're still top of the league. Liverpool just won again, so we're still 1 point ahead. We're in the semi-final of the Champions League again after last year's. Obviously, we got to the final. We've already been to Madrid once and sorted your neighbours out. You know what I mean? It wasn't the best football in the world, but you expect that from Atletico Madrid. You know what I mean? WrestleMania tactics. But we got through it, and life on the blue side of Manchester at the minute is not too bad. I've booked my flights for Madrid next week, and I'm looking forward to going to the fantastic Bernabeu, and hopefully that is where we'll see Man City get through to the final after Tuesday's game.
Let's just say the noisy neighbours have become the big brothers of Manchester. Huh?
The noisy neighbours have now taken over the street, mate.
So I've always wanted to ask, a City fan this, because myself, when the Abu Dhabi group first took over, I used to follow City a little bit, and then people used to say, there are more fans of City in Manchester than there are United fans. Is that true?
True, yeah. Proper fans. Listen, Manchester United is obviously one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's more like a tourist attraction now. It's like Disneyland, you know what I mean? People come, they eat candy floss, they swing in the car park like Ronaldo. They're all taking pictures. Even when they lose, they come out, they all want pictures, they buy shirts. It's, you know what I mean? It's lost its soul a little bit, you know what I mean? It's become a bit tourist attraction. We're a proper club, man. You know what I mean? We've been through it from the second division. 30,000 fans in Division 2 in English football every week. When your neighbours are winning European Cups and you're struggling, it was tough. But we obviously we got the Abu Dhabi group in, and they've changed the whole football club from top to bottom. They've not only built a great team, but they've rebuilt a football club from top to bottom. And now there's a lot of new fans that have joined Manchester City. Obviously, with success brings these new fans, but the loyal core, hardcore Mancunian working class fans are still there, you know what I mean? And man, we've been on some football journey, man. It's been crazy.
Yeah, for me, always the most memorable game of City is the one that you won at Old Trafford under Ferguson, 6-1. I'm sure you remember that, right?
I was there.
Yeah.
Well, when I first watched City in 1989, my first season, we got promoted from the Division 2 into Division 1, and we beat Manchester United 5-1 at Main Road. Oh. And I lived on that for years. In school, when they were winning, all I had to fight back was 5-1, 5-1. And then when we got to Old Trafford that day, 6-1 at Old Trafford was unbelievable. For whole Man City fans, going into work on the Monday morning was the best feeling you can ever imagine.
It's actually interesting, the fact that you have been to Main Road, right? Because for me, I've never actually seen City play at the Main Road. But how's the difference between Main Road and the now Etihad Stadium?
Main Road was brilliant. It was a proper old school football stadium, very, very intimidating, very, very hostile. The area around the ground was very, very intimidating for away supporters. It was a crazy place, man. Special place. We didn't, obviously, when I started watching them in the late 80s, early 90s there, we wasn't the best, but we had some fantastic memories there. And then obviously with the Etihad Stadium move, I think it was too good of an opportunity to turn down. The Commonwealth Games Stadium was going to be empty. We had a chance of getting it. We had to just give away Main Road and put a little bit of money to and get this fantastic stadium, which we did. But we've now created our own history in the Etihad Stadium. I think we're creating a great history there. It's obviously people, you love your old stadiums, you get attached to them. But I think the younger generation coming through now have got attached to the Etihad. So one chapter now is gone. It's gone. Main Road, fantastic. I'm privileged to be there and feel it, because I always say you feel football grounds that when you go in there, they have a feeling about them, and I felt it in my chest. And now the Etihad has got me sometimes. The Aguero moment, last minute. We've done some fantastic things at the Etihad, and we're creating its own chapter, the Etihad now.
Absolutely. Aguero, like the way he etched himself into folklore is somewhat underrated, and like people generally downplay his impact in the Premier League and how much impact he had in the City side. But moving on to the present day, both City and Real Madrid are in like they're the champions elect of their respective leagues, and City has been like very persistent in how they approach this title race. Is it down to purely experience, Steve, from the past 3 seasons in the Premier League?
Well, to be honest, this season we sold Aguero. We let Aguero go, and then we basically have played all season with no striker. We've played with a false 9, no striker. So it's been difficult at times because you're used to Man City blowing people away. And don't get me wrong, we do blow some teams away, but some teams it's been hard. We have no striker, so there's no sort of plan B. But yeah, we've got the experience now. The last few years when we've gone for a title race, if it's been close, we've either held on and won it, or we've caught the person in front and won it. So I like to think our players know that this business end of the season, we know how to get the job done. You know what I mean? And we're playing well at the minute. Pep's really doing well with the squad. He's rotating it well. After the game in Madrid, it took a lot out of the players, some injuries. We went to the semi-final at Wembley. He didn't throw the big guns in, and we got beat. But we'd rather lose the FA Cup semi-final than lose players to the title run. So hopefully it's proved okay.
How good was Gabriel Jesus yesterday? Like against Watford?
Yeah, the rumours came out the night before that he was signing for Arsenal end of the season. Yeah. So whether this was like, no, don't tell me, or I don't know, but he just had a good game. I mean, he's been a great player for Manchester City, and people that watch him week in, week out, he's not a goal scorer, but he works so hard, and his energy levels. When we play big sides, I mean, Real Madrid, the last time we played you, 2020, he was very important in that he harassed Varane. He was chasing dead balls down, and he's a great player. But this modern day football fan tends to judge strikers on goals, assists. But with Jesus, he's a lot more than that. He came from Brazil. He's very hungry, passionate, and he's only like 25 years old, I think, and he seems to be around forever.
Still in his prime, yeah, absolutely.
Interesting fact about Sunad, he's an Arsenal fan. So I'm pretty sure that he loved the display yesterday, and he's waiting with open arms for Gabriel Jesus to come to, the Emirates.
I'm not sure we can actually pull that off yet.
I'm sure, like you're letting Lacazette leave, right?
Yeah.
So probably.
You never know. If we sign Haaland, then I think somebody's got to go. It'll either be Sterling or Jesus.
I saw it in the Big Steve, Big Six, Steve, that you actually mentioned that your number one source actually told you that Haaland is actually done. It's done and dusted.
Yeah, there's some. I can't really reveal it yet, but I spoke to somebody who's close to Haaland. And they told me not to worry. And then I don't know if you've seen it the other day. I actually got Alfie Hinger Haaland's phone number because he's I spoke to Erling Haaland 2 years ago about something totally separate to football, a business deal, and he gave me Alfie's number. So the other night when I was live on the show, we texted him, Alfie Haaland. I said, I'm only going to get one text because he's probably going to block me or get me arrested. So I sent him one text, and it was a beautiful text about the history of Man City and about how that there's unfinished business in Manchester for Haaland after Roy Keane tackled his dad and left in a nasty way. It's time for his son to come back and put that right.
Do you think, Steve, that once his redemption arc or the vengeance story is done, once he's done the business, will you guys let him join us in the future?
Well, to be honest, the thing is with Manchester City, we're not a team that stands in the way of people. If people want
That's
to
something
leave,
people
you know,
underrate a lot. Yeah.
we let them go. So
Yeah.
we don't hold people to ransom. Leroy Sané wanted to go to Bayern Munich, no problem. Ferran Torres wanted to go to Barca, no problem. But I think what you've got to understand is if you're doing well at Manchester City, it's very rare that you want to leave. It's very rare you want to leave. Leroy Sané was in and out the side. He wanted to leave. Ferran Torres was in and out the side. He'd been played left wing, right wing, false nine, striker. Didn't quite cut it. But you get the Agueros, the Kevin De Bruynes, the Yaya Toures, David Silva, people like that. Vincent Kompany, they're here for 10 years. So Manchester City as a footballing place is a great place to work. And I think what City do is they probably tell them, yeah, no problem. If you want to leave, you can leave. But I think once they get here, they look after them that well. And the pressure's different at Manchester City than it is at Real Madrid. You know, if you go to Real Madrid and you're not scoring goals, they're outside the training ground, they're smashing your cars up, they're coming for you everywhere you go. Manchester City fans, we're used to disappointment all our life. So we give these players time, man. We relax. We back them 100%. And it's like the media can come for them, but we'll never turn on them. You never see Manchester City fans turn on the players ever. Even if they're poor, we just deal with it. The club deal with it. They know to get rid of them. But the fans, they're quite unique in that way.
Actually, Steve, I was wondering, you know, like the thing you just mentioned right now, like for example, with Ferran Torres and Sani. So like you think that Pep plays these players in different positions, as you said, like left winger, right winger, and striker. For example, we touched on Gabriel Jesus earlier as well. Do you think actually this affects the reason why the players decide to go, like they have no standard position in the team? For example, a player like Gabriel Jesus, you think of him as an out and out striker, and but like I think for the past 2 years he's been playing on the wing, you know, and like his goal contribution is so less. And if he gets a team like Arsenal who is willing to give him the position of a center nine, you know, a permanent position without having to tweak and change every week, maybe does this affect the reason why the players eventually decide to, you know, go and find, you know, a permanent position?
It depends if it depends what kind of a player you are. If you've got a strong mind and you believe you're better than where Pep Guardiola wants to play you, then I think you're going to want to leave and go and play that position. If you listen to him and think, hold on a minute, the best manager in the world is telling me that I'm a left back, so I'm going to knuckle down. Zinchenko came as a midfield player, a number 10. He's now a left back. Fabian Delph came as a defensive midfield player, and we won the Centurion season at left back. You've seen Philipp Lahm at Bayern Munich go from full back to centre mid, and Kimmich. And this is what, you know, some players buy into it. And for me, it's a case of like, you know, if Pep Guardiola is picking you in this Manchester City team, and you're there to do a job, then do a job. If you don't fancy, I don't think Ferran Torres really liked the Manchester weather. He was locked in a COVID situation for 2 years in a flat in Manchester. It's raining all the time. You know, I think he just thought, I need to get back to Barcelona. So I don't blame him. But, you know, it is what it is. Pep Guardiola, does he make these players better? I think he does. I think another manager will keep you on the wing and keep you there all the time. With Pep, he shows you different scenarios where you've got to defend, get back, cut inside, go outside. So I don't know. I just think, a lot of the players that like Leroy Sané and Torres, I think they left for different reasons. But Pep does play some strange positions.
Okay, what about why not Kane instead of Haaland then? Because we know Kane has the pedigree. He's played in the Premier League. He's shown he can do it. And like he's like, I think he's one of the most, you can kind of say like mobile strikers out there. Like these are the Pep Guardiola kind of players. Then why don't you go with like proven quality instead of going with Haaland and you don't know what's going to happen with him or not?
Well, to be honest, I think they tried for Kane, but the price got too ridiculous. And if you know Manchester City, they never buy anybody over the age of, like, they never buy anyone at 28 years old because he's not got no value or he's got no improvement value. So they have a certain wage structure and price. And City have walked away from deals before because it's not been right. And I think the Kane boat's gone. So they've reevaluated it. They've got, if they get Haaland, it'd be like 63 million. So it'd literally be a quarter or like, you know, nearly, what do they want for Kane? 150. So you get Haaland for 63. You know what I mean? You've got 10 years. You've got Kane at 28, 29. So I understand what you're saying, but I think we can work with Haaland. I think Pep can mould him into the player he wants. He's young enough. And don't forget, we signed Alvarez as well from River Plate. You know what I mean? He's South American Player of the Year. 14 million pounds, man. 14 million pounds. So for the price, half of what you're going to get for Kane, you could get Erling Haaland and Alvarez. So we've automatically there got two fantastic young talents. So I think that's the way they're going to go with it.
Actually, I was more of thinking about, the Van Persie thing with United, where like Sir Alex never bought a striker who's like above 29, something like that. And then he just felt, the presence of Man City, like because of that, if you could recall, like, he lost the title from Man City, I think with a point or something like that on the last day with a goal difference, Then he brought City, he bought RVP, and like it just changed everything automatically. So I was actually kind of thinking, if let's say, for example, Klopp and Liverpool actually took over all City this year, I felt like, that might be an exception for City and Guardiola to say, okay, like let's bring in, the person who's going to lead us right now and now. Because the thing is like, eventually Klopp's going to leave these guys in 1 or 2 years, and like Sané and Mane, Salah, and these guys are all getting old, just to get one over Liverpool and their front three. Like I was thinking maybe that might be more logical.
I think Man United might go for Kane. I just got a feeling they might go for him.
But will Kane go for United?
Well, to be honest, even United in the state they're in, they're better than Tottenham.
Definitely. 100%.
Okay. If Ten Hag comes in and he cleans the decks out and he brings in 10 players and he's a new team, I think the excitement of working under Ten Hag and building a new project at Man United might entice Kane to go there rather than Conte, who seems to be okay when he's winning, but as soon as he's losing, he's talking about him running away.
But then the point is like Kane is 28, right? So like, will he gonna go and start a project at the age of 28 when he's competing against like the two best teams in the world? So that's the thing.
Well, United did it with Terry Sheringham and people like that went to United late in their careers and won Champions Leagues. And I'm not saying United are near that, they're not. But I mean, Harry Kane's been at Tottenham a long time. He's playing really, really well. Is he going to go down in history of being a great goal scorer with no trophies?
I was just thinking rather than go to United, like I would choose like to push to go to Bayern Munich if they lose Lewandowski or something like that. Like it makes more sense to go like abroad to a more established team where you can win at the instant because like you're not getting any younger. And the fact is like Kane also like is an injury prone player. Let's not forget this. He like gets injured.
Bayern Munich just won 10 straight titles in a row. So what does that tell you about the standard of the Bundesliga? Because Manchester City win 2 titles in a row and they're calling it Farmers League.
They're already calling it a Farmers League if City actually wins it. But coming back to the title race, you guys have Leeds United, like right after you take us on at home, and then you have Newcastle, and then you have West Ham, and then you have Aston Villa. Compared to the Liverpool fixtures on paper, City has the easier run-in. How nervous are you leading up to the?
Do you know what? I'm not nervous. I'm on the match day, you get a little bit nervous. But listen, I'm a Man City fan. We've got the best manager in the world for me, and we've got a great squad of players that knows how to get over this line. So we've can't be nervous. We've got to just trust the players and trust Pep. We've got important games, Real Madrid. It's all about squad management. On Saturday, we beat Watford 5-1. Zinchenko left back. Ruben Diaz back in the team. He rotated a few players here and there. Fernandinho started. So people are getting a rest, but Kevin De Bruyne's already playing with injuries. He said that yesterday, that De Bruyne's got ankle troubles and he needs to take him off as soon as he can. So I'm not nervous. It's exciting. This is what you live for in football. You know, you want to be in a title race. You want to go to the game and feel it and know that it means something. There's a lot of teams going to games now just for nothing. You just go there, watch your team, you finish in mid-table, and it's over. I'm in the title race. Everything means something. You know what I mean? Leeds is going to be hard. Madrid at home is going to be hard. Newcastle's going to be hard. It's just the way it is, man. One slip and it's game over.
But it's for us though. It's considerably easier considering how Barca and Atleti has been doing this season. We could actually win it with 4 points, if I'm not right. Especially after our performance. 4 points. Oh, and Osasuna.
So hopefully, if I think Barcelona take on Rayo today, Rayo Vallecano. So if Barcelona drop points today, I think then probably we could win it at Espanyol and get the guard of honor at Atleti. That's something that I would want. But if things don't turn out that way, then probably we go to the Wanda and hopefully we win the title there. So I think that's what we're looking towards. But like 2 things I would like to just I would like to interject. First thing, when Big Steve, you mentioned about what the fans think about players underperforming. The thing about Real Madrid is like for the last 50 or 70 years, we have been at the top of Europe. We have the fans at the stadium. They've seen players, who play at the topmost level of football, the highest quality of football. So when they see players who are not, let's say, performing to their standards, so they're disappointed. Another thing about the Bernabeu is that the Bernabeu does not like players who do not give full effort. So there's this thing that Bernabeu will boo players, but Bernabeu boos players when they're not giving effort. The thing is, like Lucas Vazquez, if you look at him, he's not the best player. He doesn't have the highest technical quality, but he gives 110%. He gives 120%. He's like he's like the ideal standard of what Madrid wants a Madrid player to be, somebody who gives their all. So, and you'll never see Lucas Vazquez get booed at the Bernabeu. And the second thing about Erling Haaland is, like, once he goes to City, even if he wants to come to Real Madrid, the thing is, like, with Florentino Perez, if you ditch him once after an agreement, he'll not come back for you again. And the second thing is, if we get Kylian Mbappe, Real Madrid will be Kylian Mbappe's team. So would Erling Haaland want to come to Real Madrid that is already known as Kylian Mbappe's team? So for me, I think if Haaland does not join Real Madrid like this summer, it's going to be really difficult for him to come to Madrid.
I think it depends on how he performs at City, though, right? I think if he was to go and
if it's already Kylian Mbappe's team, would Haaland, somebody who aspires to be a Ballon d'Or winner, come to play with Kylian Mbappe, who's already challenging him for the Ballon d'Or?
So that's why I said, like, it depends on how it's, the thing is that for me personally, like, I was like, for the Hazard thing, okay, I'm not comparing them on any scale, but I'm not giving an example. Like, I was like, the Hazard was the guy to take us to the next phase of our footballing thing, and like injuries came and he couldn't fit. You don't know what's going to happen. It might be the same with Mbappe. He comes and he doesn't.
Yeah, he delivers,
but he doesn't deliver
enough. You cannot say what's going to happen in the future, but the thing is, like, as things stand right now, and as we expect them to go, I think if Mbappe comes, sorry, I'm not even sure Mbappe is going to come, but if he comes, like, 100% is going to be Mbappe's team. Would you as Erling Haaland want to join a team that's already somebody else's team? Imagine, like, Cristiano Ronaldo, you look at Real Madrid and you say it's Cristiano Ronaldo's team, and then you're asking Lionel Messi to come. So it's going to be difficult. That's my outlook. So if Haaland wants to come to Real Madrid, it has to be this summer. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think Mbappe looks likely to go there. There's talk about the financial situation as well, whether could Real Madrid stretch to them both? Don't know. Like you say, do they want to both be there together when, they're both superstars in their own right? I don't know. I just think in a perfect world, it seems a good fit. Haaland to Manchester City with the connections from his dad, etc. And then Mbappe to go to Real Madrid, because Mbappe is a fantastic player, and PSG at the minute, it's a bit like Hollywood, isn't it? You know what I mean? It all looks pretty on the outside, but I don't think it is. And he's never going to get the real credit at PSG, because they can win the league every year. So what? When they get to the Champions League big stages, they always fail. Mbappe now, he needs to get to that superstar. Ronaldo's getting old, and Messi's getting old. There's a new pathway now for new superstars in town. I think Mbappe to Real Madrid, he's definitely opens it up for him, and I think Haaland to Man City definitely opens it up for him.
Like, in my opinion, at least, great players they tend to play better together. In my honest opinion, and hopefully, eventually, Haaland, after his initial priorities are done, he might fancy a move away. That's just me hoping for the best. But Steve, quickly on to the Champions League and City. Like, until the moment that you got to the final, I never thought that you cared much about the Champions League.
It was weird, because we played you in the semi-final under Pellegrini. I went to Madrid, and the City fans did not give a shit about it. Yeah, and it was very, very weird atmosphere in the middle of Madrid. Play on my own.
Was it when the Yaya Toure chant started? I think it started there, right?
I think it started around that time, yeah. But we didn't care, man. And it was weird, because Man City fans always had this, like, thing that UEFA was on their backs. So they didn't like Manchester City. They didn't want the older teams, the cartels, the Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Man United, Liverpool. Didn't want them teams to ever be dominated by a team that didn't have the prestige and history. But all of a sudden, you've got this team that's come from nowhere, and it's mixing it with the big boys. They didn't like it. So City fans always probably felt a little bit bullied. But that mentality's changed a lot now, obviously, with the run we got beat off a very poor Lyon side when we should have beat that. And then we went on a run last year, and Manchester City fans can't play that card anymore, because we've been to the top table of European football. We've beat Real Madrid, we've beat Barcelona, we've beat Paris Saint-Germain, we've beat Bayern Munich. There's no excuses now. So if you can beat them teams, you deserve to be winning this trophy. And this trophy is used as a stick to beat us with. You know what I mean? In England, domestically, we're cleaning up. We broke every record you can think of. You know, most ever points in a season, Centurion season, cleaned up every trophy in the league in one season, never been done. And now it's just this one eludes us. So after losing to Porto last year, when, to be honest, we should have won it, and Pep dropped a clanger, that left a nasty taste in my mouth, and I think a lot of City fans' mouths. And I think we thought, you know what, none of this bullshit now. Oh, we don't care. We do care. We've got the team. We've got the fans. We just need to get this trophy in the cabinet. And I'll be honest with you, if we won this one Champions League and got it in, I think a couple more would follow, because I think the monkey's off the players' back then. You can sort of relax. Until we get that one in the cabinet, there'll always be, but you've never won the Champions League. You got Pep Guardiola, you never won the Champions League. But people got to understand, Pep Guardiola was brought in to make Manchester City consistent in the league and winning trophies regular, because at the minute we won the Mancini Pellegrini, but it wasn't consistent. It was literally like we won one, missed a couple, won one. Now under Pep, he's dominating it. And now, for me, this season, if we could have magic wand and say Liverpool can have the Premier League, Manchester City have the Champions League, I'll take that.
Well, then, do you think, do fans get frustrated? I mean, City fans get frustrated. Like, for example, you mentioned the Champions League final, not starting with a holding midfielder, for example. For example, we go to the game with Spurs, he started with Ilkay Gundogan in the Spurs game, you see these games and you see I wouldn't say overthought the game, but he tries to be too tactical in these games. And this is something that he goes away from the normal City sides. Does this kind of frustrate you guys, or you're like, we have Pep and that's just it?
Oh, it does, but he does things in other games which work and nobody ever speaks about it. We played Paris Saint-Germain with Zinchenko as false nine. He's left back. And we win the game, no one's asked. So what it is, he's a genius, but he's a flawed genius. Every single great manager has his flaws, and Pep's flaws maybe is the overthinking situation. Do we understand it? If it paid off and we won the Champions League, he'd be crowned a genius for doing that. But he didn't. And at the end of the day, is it frustrating? Hell yeah. It is. But at the end of the day, we've got to back our manager. We're not this entitled team where we think we've got to win everything. We know where we've come from. We know what we've been through. So if Pep Guardiola makes a decision in a Champions League final and you lose the game 1-0, it is what it is. We dust ourselves off and we go again.
I watched the final last year, and Chelsea didn't exactly dominate City. City just looked out of the depth. They didn't have the composure on a night like that.
The thing is, guys, the best team in the world doesn't always win the Champions League. The best team in your country always wins the league. You look at this lineup now: Villarreal, Benfica was there, Inter Milan, Sporting Lisbon. Come on, guys. We know they're not the greatest teams. There's people saying to me, this Champions League now, it's like Tottenham got to the final, man. Tottenham. I think they lost something like 15, 16 games that season in all competitions. They got to the final. So Chelsea can beat Man City in that and say, we're champions of Europe, we're the best team in the world and that. But really, they're not. You know what I mean? They're not. But it's that trophy. Everyone wants it. It's all changing again in a couple of years. They're changing it to a league format. So it's basically going to be the Super League, but in a different format. More teams. It's going to be harder to win. Maybe. Don't know. It's crazy, man. We need to get it in this cabinet this season, 100%.
But don't you think that was a good experience in you guys reaching a final, and that, in my opinion, that would have made City all the more mature as a European powerhouse? All throughout these years, I thought they lacked the experience of going very late into the Champions League. And I think they have that in the bag at the moment. And that's why, in my opinion, I think people respect City more than PSG, because City's obsession if I may call it, is healthy. Like unlike PSG's obsession with the Champions League, City has this determination and persistence to not throw the toys at the pram and just throw the towel in. But City has that mentality in them, I think, now instilled by Pep, who's also grown as a manager outside of Barcelona and City. That's helping them a lot. This question is to you, Steve. Like, when we speak about Real Madrid, it's Champions League royalty. There's a reason they have this aura and they have the pedigree that they do in Europe. So my question is, how big of a difference is talent versus know-how in the big European ties?
I don't know, because you've seen a lot of teams. You look at the PSG team, for example, it's got a hell of a lot of talent, yeah? But they haven't got the know-how, because teams can rattle them and can take them off the game. They can get physical with them, and next minute Neymar's rolling around on the floor. People are kicking out at people, the heads have gone, and next minute they're out. And that's why I think Manchester City's victory the other night in Madrid, a few years ago, we'd have lost that game because we didn't have the experience to go against a Madrid team like that. And what they did is they set up at the Etihad 5-5 and said, right, let's take them back to Madrid and we'll take them into deep water in Madrid, and they won't like it and we'll beat them. But what they did is they took us into deep water and we matched them. We brought on Fernandinho. If you want to kick us, he can kick you. If you want a free kick, we get a free kick. Jack Grealish was rattling them from the touchline. They tried every single trick in the book, yeah? And Manchester City played them at their own game. I was more proud of winning that game than a lot of the other games, because I thought, you know what, it showed experience. It showed a different mentality that Manchester City can go in the trenches. If you want to take us in the trenches, we can do it now. And I thought, yeah, we've learned from past mistakes and now we're using it to get through. So at the minute, we look good. And like you say, you can't beat experience, you know what I mean? You can come up against the best players in the world, but you know yourself, you can have a team full of experienced players. They know how to play that, you know what I mean? And now I think we've got a good mix of really talented players, and we've got a little bit of experience now in there, which I think might get us over the line.
Yeah, but did you think that you guys struggle against Atleti in the second half? Because for me personally, when I was watching the game, I thought Diego Simeone sort of, laid out a tactical game plan on how to play against this City side, especially in a two-legged European tie. Because, okay, on the first leg, he was deservedly criticized for the fact that Atleti were defensive. But when they came back to the Wanda, I think the thing that Atleti lacked most was the fact that they did not have a finisher. But when they went for it in the second half, they almost had they almost had City on the ropes. Because I think if they had a player like Benzema or maybe even Suarez of last season, I think they could have knocked you out, especially in that second half.
Well, to be honest, we did go into it different, but saying that, they didn't, even though at the Wanda, they didn't open up. They were very cagey. If they opened up twice, we hit the post, and then we broke one-on-one. Gundogan put it past the keeper, and they cleared it off the line. So I've watched Manchester City a long time, and when you watch a team, you usually get a feeling when watching them where you're under pressure or you're worrying. And against Liverpool at the Etihad, every time Liverpool got the ball, I was worried because I thought they're going to score. Every time Atletico Madrid got the ball, I wasn't worried because I thought to myself, we've got 2 or 3 more players inside here, and I think Manchester City could have stepped it up a little bit if we needed to, and I just think we got the job done.
Actually, I'm gonna disagree with Mo here about the fact that he said Atleti showed a way to defeat, to play City across 2-legged games. I think actually Atleti missed the point. I think Steve can attest to this. When you watch the games where Man City have struggled this year, be it against Palace, Southampton, the Liverpool games. Okay, they haven't struggled a lot against Liverpool, but the point is they play with fast breaks, with players who are really, really fast. For example, you can check the Crystal Palace game. It was Zaha and Olise. That's even the last goal in the 2-0 game. It was a quick break with Zaha, Olise, and Gallagher. It was a goal. You get the point. Even with Liverpool at the Etihad, just a couple of weeks back, the goal with Mane scored immediately after the halftime. It was just a quick break. Salah, Mane, goal. That's just it, the point was Atleti sits so deep in their own half that you can't get that quick break. Before you run the length of the pitch, already the players have recovered, You just have to like hog the, even like I think with the Conte game at the Etihad as well, you know, just Kane was dropping down deep. It was just one release to either Son or Kulusevski, and it was almost a chance for a goal. So I think that's the thing actually. Like when you sit so deep against City, like they're gonna recover. That's the thing. Like Kyle Walker is, I think, the one player you never want to be in one-on-one against. And City uses his speed so perfectly. He's like an additional center back actually. So you never can beat him for pace.
Now. He's injured now. He's not going to play.
Actually, that's what I was going to say to you. You know, like you guys won at the Wanda, right? But I think like, what about, you know, the physical toll it's taking on you guys? For example, you can see like Kevin De Bruyne is not at his 100% yet, you know? Like, for example, I saw the game against Liverpool at the FA Cup and I was like shocked, you know? This is the worst I've ever seen City play like in a high.
Yeah, we turned up at the Wembley. We turned up to a gunfight with a knife. You've got Fernandinho, 36-year-old in midfield against Liverpool. It's never going to work. You got Zinchenko, who's not been playing because of the troubles in the Ukraine. Against Salah, it's never going to work. You got Zach Steffen, second goal. You've seen it, made a mistake, thinks he's Ederson. The thing is, like, you take away Ederson from Manchester City's team, it's a massive cog in the machine, because you press Manchester City, we dink the ball back to Ederson, and he dinks that ball over the press, and Manchester City attack. Klopp realised that Zach Steffen can't do that. If you go and press him, he's either going to make a mistake or kick it out for a throw-in. Second half, Manchester City came out different. We didn't push the fullbacks too far up, so we basically said to Salah and Mane, okay, you attack us. We're not going to give you the space in behind. And when we did that, they couldn't get behind us. But we had to be more patient. And that's what I think the key is with City. When you say teams like Palace and that got behind us, they did, because we disrespected Palace and thought we could push that high up the pitch that we'd strangle them. And they used that out ball over the top, got us on the counter-attack. I think we're a little bit more different now because of Kyle not playing. Maybe John Stones might play right back, I think. And Zinchenko will play left back because Cancelo's suspended. So I think we'll play a little bit different. But Ruben Diaz this week coming back is a massive, massive bonus for us. He just gives us something a little bit different, and we look a little bit more organised with him there.
Actually, Steve, I was wondering, did you watch the first leg against of Real Madrid against Chelsea in the quarterfinals? You know, why I'm asking this is because, you know, like there was an isolation of Vinicius Jr. versus Andres Christensen, right? Actually, when I heard the coach yesterday saying like Walker might not make it, I was actually thinking like if he has to play either Ake or John Stones against Vinicius Jr., I think it might be a repetition of this, because like Vinicius Jr. is so fast and so full of tricks, you know, like he might actually find that as a weak spot, similar to what he did to Christensen in the first half against Chelsea, actually. I don't know what's your take on that.
I agree. I think it's not ideal if we go into this Real Madrid game with John Stones at right back and Zinchenko at left back. Zinchenko is very underrated. He's a very, very steady player. And what you'll get with Zinchenko is you won't get in behind him as much because he won't go too far forward. John Stones is a centre back, so he will sometimes drift in because he likes to carry the ball, and he's not the fastest. So I think John Stones would be the one to get Real. But I think Real Madrid are going to be more wary of us as well, because they're going to look at our team and think, right, Kevin De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden, you know what I mean, Rodri. They're going to think we got to think about it. So it's going to be a great game on Tuesday night, and all we need to do is maybe get to we've got to do what we did against Atletico. Get there 1-0. If I can get to the Bernabeu with a 1-0, I'm happy with that.
For me, I think, Farouk, you just raised the point about quick transition. I think the fact is Atleti were able to do it, but then they lacked the striker to finish off the chances. But the thing is, like Real Madrid, especially Carlo Ancelotti, they like they're masters of the quick transition. And the fact is Carlo Ancelotti has actually tried this tactic against Pep Guardiola, especially when we go back to the last time that Ancelotti and Guardiola faced in the Champions League when Real Madrid put 4 past Bayern Munich. So I think for Real Madrid, for us, with Vinicius Jr., we have the ability to quickly transition defense into attack. And the fact is, like, although Manchester City have players like Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden and Riyad Mahrez, but the thing is, like, our biggest weakness in defense is aerial ability. And I think City is a bit shortchanged on being able to exploit that. And the fact that once we win the ball deep, we can transition quickly with Vinicius and Benzema. I think Benzema against Ruben Diaz is going to be the matchup to watch in this game for me, like from a Real Madrid side, offensively. So I think Real Madrid, how Benzema does against Ruben Diaz is probably going to have a big impact on this game.
actually think, you know, the thing is like the City's midfield is actually so like press resistance, I would say, or whatever. Like, how can
That's
I say
the
like
thing. Like I
the
remember seeing Rio Ferdinand mention it, like post game, like after the Chelsea result. He said like the City side would be actually delighted to face us because we look clueless in midfield.
yeah.
Like under the press, we doesn't seem to cope. So I think even when it comes down to both teams being in transition, I think the midfield battle will be a no-brainer to see who wins out. So
I think for the midfield battle, the thing is like Carlo Ancelotti is going to go down the Zinedine Zidane route, right? He's probably going to pack the midfield with an extra midfielder. So I'm fully expecting Valverde, Cruz, Valverde, Cruz, and Modric to start. But then the question is, who start as the fourth midfielder? Is it Camavinga, or do we go with Rodrigo and exploit the fact that Zinchenko doesn't have the same pace, as Cancelo has? So probably that would be the biggest thing that Real Madrid are deciding. But for me, I think if we add an extra midfielder, it is something that we can take the battle to City. So it's not like Real Madrid are completely hopeless, that like we will completely lose the midfield battle. And then there's the question of know-how. I think while City have improved over the past few years, you cannot forget the fact that we have Modric and Cruz in midfield. These guys, they have won 4 Champions Leagues, been to countless number of semi-finals.
So I think, but the legs are not the same, man. That's the thing, man. Like that's the only thing.
I mean, it's a two-legged European tie, right? Experience and pressure is different. So it's going to count for something. And with Modric, even if he has grown old, he's still able to keep up. Okay, maybe Cruz, there's an issue, but with Modric, you can never count out the fact that these guys can step up anytime.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna touch on the thing you said about Zinchenko. Like, I think the thing is this, right? Like we, as Steve said rightly, like I think we all really underrate Zinchenko, because I could recall, like I think a couple of season backs, maybe if I'm wrong, Steve, just correct me. Like there was a time where like Zinchenko was playing as a fullback, but similar to a midfielder, like literally almost the same thing Cancelo does right now. But like obviously Cancelo is more talented than Zinchenko, so it's more that. So I feel like, for me personally, actually, I don't see Zinchenko as a weak spot. To be honest, like he's been a very, very good player for City, and like just as Steve pointed out, like with what's happening in his home country, like he's been unable to play and focus. But really, yesterday in the game, the guy was so good. To be honest, he was really good yesterday. So I think for me personally, like rather than thinking about starting Rodrigo, I would just throw in one extra midfielder there. That's the thing. Like just let Camavinga play his 15 minutes and get his yellow card, and just get out and bring on Rodrigo. That's just the thing, in my opinion.
You've seen Chelsea go in Madrid, yeah.
Yeah.
And City have played Chelsea twice this season. Absolutely dominated. Yeah. They couldn't get the ball off us.
Yeah.
And because we set this level of press so high, there's only Liverpool can match it for intensity. And I think that is what we've got to do against Madrid on Tuesday. We've got to set the game so high at the Etihad where we basically don't give you the ball, and we try and just tire it out. And if we nick one and go to Madrid with a lead, then I expect Madrid in front of the home fans have then got to then come out and try and go for us. And I think that's where they might be their downfall. If they can come out at us, we might get a result there. I don't know. I'm open to it. Listen, it's Real Madrid. You got to respect it. You're not playing a team of nobodies. It's Real Madrid, and you've seen what happened. Benzema class. Only takes 1 second to switch off, and you can find yourself in a world of shit. So I'm expecting a great game, but there's times where we go into these games and think, oh, we're playing Real Madrid. I'm shitting myself. I'm not no more. You know what I mean? We're up there now as one of the best teams in Europe. So I'm going in there thinking, look, it's Real Madrid, but we can stand toe to toe with them and go with it, and let's have it. You know what I mean?
That's the clear shift of mentality in Man City that I saw, especially which was evident on the night in Madrid against Atleti. The way how players were actually very street smart in how they dealt with winding the clock down and earning fouls. Very underrated that City actually managed to do it. But Steve, in your opinion, like apart from Benzema and Vinicius, who do you think is one another guy that you guys should be really, really putting their tabs on?
Modric, you've seen it, that the assists and that he was coming out with. He's got a football brain in there that's better than anyone on the pitch. So if you're giving him time and room, or you let him float into spaces that can hurt you, then he's going to hurt you. You know what I mean? He's experienced. He knows what to do. That's why we need to make sure that we don't focus on. Sometimes teams take the eye off these players and think, oh, he's past it. you know, we need to concentrate on him or him, and then next minute they hurt you. You know, Atletico Madrid was the same. They were taking they were trying to rattle our flair players, and in the end, the dogged ones, Fernandinho, Nathan Ake, they're the ones that hurt them because they came on and just played them at their own game. But you've got to respect Real Madrid. You've got to respect Modric, and obviously you've got to respect Benzema, because the guy is just a freak of nature. Seems like he's been around for years, and he's still doing what he's always done. You know what I mean? So, you know, Vinicius, yeah, like you said before, he's young, he's fast, he's tricky. It's just Modric for me. You've just got that. He's just got that bit of something special about him where he can win a game on his own, man, if you let him.
Do you actually think he eats at the same table as your Xavi, Iniestas, or does he eat at the table of your Zidanes and the level above?
Yeah, I'd put him at the table with the Zidanes and stuff. You know what I mean? He's done it in World Cups. You know what I mean? He's done it in big finals. It's hard to argue that he's not. You know, he's played in the Premier League. He's a great player, man. You know what I mean? And what he lacks in size and stature, he's just ability-wise. You know what I mean? You just seen that assist in it outside of the boot and some of the balls he was playing, and he's a joy to watch, man. It's a joy to watch. He's rolling back the years, but you know, he's still in the team. He still gets picked regular, so he must be doing something right.
For sure.
Yeah, from a Madrid side, I think the player probably watch out for is De Bruyne, right? Because I think he's the biggest threat at City has against us.
Riyad Mahrez having a great season. Riyad, De Bruyne, Phil Foden, but
exactly, man. Phil, I was gonna say Phil Foden, to be honest. Like for me, I think like that's the key. I think for me that's the it's gonna be like the difference maker, because like I feel like, you know, you can be evenly matched in the sense that, you know, you might have like how can I say, you can have Modric for KDB, you know, you can actually to some extent say, okay, like maybe Kroos and, you know, Bernardo Silva, like if you want to exchange players. But I feel like Phil Foden is the one player which, like, you know, we can say we have someone who is similar to, you know, in my opinion. And like I was just wondering, you know, as City fan, like, and given that, you know, Phil is also like born and bred in Manchester, like how do you guys, like how excited are you for him? Like what do you guys think is the ceiling for this guy?
No, listen, he's fantastic, and the way Manchester City have managed him is a testament to Pep. When he was very young, and Jadon Sancho was at City as well, and people were saying, "Oh, you're going to ruin him. He needs to play." And Sancho decided to move on. He went to Dortmund. He was playing regular. He was in the England squad, and Phil Foden was still at Manchester City, still sat on the bench, still not playing. And people were moaning about it. But the thing is, Pep Guardiola said to him, "Look, you stay here. You train every day with David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Aguero. You watch how they train, you watch how they live, you watch how they eat, you watch how they conduct themselves, and you learn, and then you'll get your chance." And he's done that, and he came in a little bit later than Sancho. But look at Phil Foden now, and look at Sancho now. Do you know what I mean? So, and the best thing for Phil Foden, what he's done, he's shown a clear path now to all our academy stars, that there is a pathway to the first team if you, A, you trust the manager, B, you trust the club, and C, don't take the money early doors, because the big things will come if you believe in your ability. If you're an insecure footballer, it's easy to take the dough and go and play somewhere else because you think you're not going to get it. If you trust in your ability, listen to Pep Guardiola and look at Phil Foden, and next minute you're in Champions League semi-finals, Champions League finals, you're playing for the England squad, and that's what it is. And I say to somebody, if you had a diamond, would you loan that diamond to your friend and expect to get that diamond back in 1 year time in the same condition as you give it him? No. So these players in England especially, they go to these clubs on loan, they go in a dressing room that's not their own dressing room, they see these superstars who aren't superstars driving around in fancy cars, going out, maybe living a different lifestyle. They come back to Manchester City and they think that they've made it and they expect to be in the first team. Then your whole attitude, mentality's changed. And what I think with Pep is he needed to keep Phil away from that, keep him with the pros like the De Bruyne's, the Silvers, them people that live clean lives and eat and breathe football. And I think it's rubbed off on him. And like you say, he's a Manchester lad. And the whole of Manchester loves him, the City side. He's one of our own, isn't he? And to see him playing in the first team, it's brilliant, man. Brilliant.
It's very interesting how Pep actually kept his introduction into the first team very, very like under the sheets, because you've seen how much when young players get thrown on the wrong end, thrown into the wrong end of title races and high pressure games, they tend to implode. But Foden has cemented himself as the best young English talent.
We've got another young player called Cole Palmer. Yeah,
I've heard of him. Striker, right?
He's been playing more as a 10, but Cole Palmer, let me tell you now, can be better than Foden, and he's another one. Pep's managing him well. He looks very. Do you ever remember a player called Matt Letizia?
Yeah, Letizia. Yeah.
Well, Matt Letizia, when you watched him, he didn't look the greatest on the eye. A bit tall and gangly. He didn't really look like he was moving much.
Yeah.
But quality was unbelievable. And this Cole Palmer's got the same. He can shoot, he can turn, left foot, right foot, passing, long range, short range, scores goals. He's another one now, abiding our time, keeping him under the radar, not letting him out there, just feeding him in every now and then, you know what I mean? And we've got a great conveyor belt of kids coming off the academy at City. We've signed a load of young Brazilian players. Kai, he's in the youth team at the minute. He's come in the cup games and that. So the future's bright, man. The future's good.
But I think the other aspect of it is like, right, you had success with Phil Foden with the way Pep Guardiola did, because I think in some way that is inspired by how Barcelona treated Xavi and how they transitioned from Pep Guardiola to Xavi. But the thing is, like, on the other aspect of it, we have Vinicius. When Vinicius came to Real Madrid, Lopetegui tried to hold him back, but once Solari took over, Vinicius was like thrown into the fire, And the thing is, like, he struggled. He's been through tough times, but the fact is that at the other end, he has come out as a diamond, because all the pressures they have in a way, like, taught him how to handle all these pressures that come with playing for Real Madrid. And a question from my side for you would be, if given the option between Vinicius Jr. and Phil Foden, who would you go for?
Foden, 100%.
Foden? Okay. Because I remember a couple of people were asking this question, and most people said they would go with Vinicius. And personally, for me, I'd probably go with Vinicius too. So I understand that you're a City fan. So
absolutely unbiased.
Yeah.
I just we feel like you say. I see Vinicius bits and bobs. I know he's a great player. I don't watch him week in, week out. But I just think with Phil, he's still going, man. He's still going. He's still improving. I don't know. Yeah, I think every Real Madrid fan would choose your guy. Every Man City fan would choose our guy.
Yeah.
But we need this. We'll have this conversation in a couple of years, and we'll see where both players are at.
Okay, let me rephrase this question. Who would you rather? Who's the one player that you would have from the Real Madrid team who could probably play for City right now?
That's a good question.
Yeah, Vinicius, definitely great player. At the minute, we need a striker, so I'd take Benzema.
Exactly.
I'd take him.
I was actually surprised you had to think a lot. Like, for me, if somebody asks me one player from Real Madrid goes into City, I'm like flat out, it's Karim Benzema. Because for me, maybe you disagree for me, but for me, it's like Karim Benzema right now is the best player in the world. Like,
yeah. Mo Salah, he's not having a good spell at the minute, but the early season form was ridiculous, and him and Benzema, brilliant. Kevin De Bruyne's coming into his own now. Like you say, he's not 100% fit, but he's literally dragging Manchester City over the line in this competition and the Premier League. But Benzema's rolling back the years. But the amount of chances we create, and there's nobody in the box to stick it in the net, is so frustrating. It's unbelievable. So Benzema would thrive, I think. Kevin De Bruyne whipping them balls in, Benzema, it's just, that'd be a match made in heaven. That.
And for me personally, I've always thought, like, Karim Benzema is the ideal Pep Guardiola striker, because let's say Pep Guardiola has the vision of football that Karim Benzema plays, a striker who can play all over the place, not just inside the box. And Pep Guardiola, what he wants from his striker, I think he even had some issues with Aguero because of the Aguero, let's say, it didn't exactly embody what Pep Guardiola envisioned. So, but for me, Karim Benzema is like the perfect Pep Guardiola striker. It's a sad fact that Pep Guardiola would never manage Karim Benzema, but for me, like, he loves Real Madrid, and I love having him at Real Madrid. So no complaints from me.
Okay, Mo, let's serve you a Uno reverse card. Which City player will you have?
Oh, that's actually a difficult one, but probably for me, there are a couple of areas that we lack in. The biggest one being aerially at the center back position. So
Yeah.
probably I could take Ruben Diaz. But then there's also the fact that Kevin De Bruyne is probably among the best midfielders in the world. Although for me, without any bias, I think Modric is the best. But then even Kevin De Bruyne coming in and playing in place of Cruz could make a difference for Real Madrid. But like if I had to choose only one, I'd probably go with Ruben Diaz.
Sunaid?
For me, I think it's clearly KDB and what he brings, the versatility of him who can play as a false nine, as an 8 down the wing if needs be. He's something else, and he's been constantly trying to prove himself.
But like the funny thing is, like Real Madrid, I think there were a couple of rumors like over the past few days that Real Madrid are actually scouting Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't see that happening though.
Yeah.
Do you think
it's unlikely, but they have been scouting him. I think they've been scouting him for 2 years now. So
the best
can't
in
see
Europe? Sorry, Steve?
I can't see it at the minute. To be like you say, to be fair, there's not many. I was worried about Real Madrid when De Bruyne was a couple of years ago when he was really on fire. I was thinking Real Madrid, but then you're thinking, okay, if they get him, it's going to be big money. I think at the minute now, Man City is a great place to play football. I think a lot of people like it, and I think Real Madrid are on a bit of a rebuild. They've got a few players there, like you say, that are getting a bit old now, so they're looking at freshening it up. So I think Real Madrid are not looking at the Kevin De Bruynes of the world. I think they're looking at the youngsters, like you say, Mbappe. If they sign Mbappe, then that's your Galactico, in it, that everyone wants to come and play with, isn't it? So
I think over the years, the way we scout players and buy players the model has completely evolved and changed, and we look for younger profiles more than ever. But Steve, to kind of wrap this up, how do you think City lines up tomorrow?
I think it's going to be Ederson in there. I think it's going to be Zinchenko at left back. I think it'd be Laporte, Diaz, and Stones at right back. I think it'd be Rodri at DM. I think it'll be Bernardo Silva and Gundogan. And I think it'll be Foden on the left, De Bruyne in the false 9, and Mahrez on the right. That's what I've just got an inkling with what he played. I don't think Jesus will play because he started him against Watford. I don't think he'll play. But yeah, I think he'll play De Bruyne in the 9.
Yeah, for me, I would be worried about De Bruyne, getting in behind those spaces, because I think for us, David Alaba is a worry. He's probably going to miss out. Like, it's going to be a game time decision. And the fact that we do not have Casemiro to break up the play, I think that's going to be a big miss. So I think that those two things with Kevin De Bruyne playing at false 9 is probably going to worry me a lot.
Who do you think starts for us, Farouk?
Yeah, same people, Courtois in post, and we most likely go in Nacho and Militao because there's no other option. And then it's, as usual, Carvajal. And then for the left back, Mendy as well. And then in midfield, actually, I'll go with a midfield 4, Cruz, Modric, Valverde, and most likely not Casemiro. So I'll just, go with Camavinga in there and let him, as I said earlier, take his 15 minutes, 1 hour, get his yellow card, and Rudiger comes in afterwards. And it's Benzema and Vinicius up top. So, yeah.
I'm not entirely sure he'll start Camavinga because how things are, I think it was against Sevilla, he got booked and stuff. So I'm a little bit hesitant, But I think like the fact that Ferland Mendy is back is probably going to be a big boost for us.
Yeah.
Like I'm still in two minds, because if he isn't fully fit, I don't think it'll be as straightforward as many people think.
You're talking about Ferland Mendy?
Yeah,
Mendy is fit. He's been training a little bit like with the ball for the past couple of days, and today I think he enjoyed the group training. So Ferland Mendy is fit. The worry I would be of not being fit and playing would be David Alaba, because I think Alaba right now is a game time decision. So that's the one I would worry about. And Casemiro, the way I see things, he's probably out. So if he plays, it would be suicide. So for me, I'm worried about David Alaba more than I'm worried about Mendy.
Best probable scoreline for us away at the Etihad, guys.
I don't do predictions. So.
You're not? Are you sitting on the fence again? Okay.
Sorry?
fence settings. You're on the fence. You can't decide what way it's gonna go.
No. For me, I don't like doing predictions, but let's see.
Steve, what do you think is the best possible scoreline for City?
Best scoreline would be 5-0, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I reckon, listen, if we can take a lead, even it be a small lead, 1-0 to Madrid, I'm going to be confident. But I think it's going to be a great game. I'm going to go 2-1 City.
For me personally, while I'm not going to give a scoreline, I'm probably going to tell you how the game will go. It's probably going to be a lot more like Atleti than how we played against Chelsea. So we're probably going to sit deep and transition how Ancelotti played against Bayern in 13-14. So I'm probably expecting that game. So I wouldn't be surprised if Real Madrid nick a goal or two, on the transition.
But then the thing is that, like you said about 13-14, man, like in 13-14, we had different players, man. Like Di Maria was there.
Different, but the thing is, like, Carlo Ancelotti has probably been, he has been implementing his tactics, and with a 1 week break, you never know what happens. Real Madrid are coming in fresher than Manchester City, so that's going to count for something.
The actual thought of watching us sitting deep inside our own half at the Etihad just gives me, absolute nightmares. I don't know how we'll actually,
I mean, you got to be the most pessimistic Real Madrid fans.
Do you know how refreshing this is, lads, to hear Real Madrid fans saying that they're scared to sit deep at the Etihad when Manchester City used to play Stockport County and Macclesfield Town, Grimsby Town, and get beat.
And Macclesfield Town does not even exist today.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic to hear, lads, from my point of view.
It's a completely different generation.
I did a lad Bible. I don't know if you've seen it, when against Robbie from Arsenal TV.
Yeah.
And we got talking about history, and I said to him that my football story is the best football story in the world. I said I've gone from Barnsley to the Bernabeu, and they're even making T-shirts now at City with the slogan on Barnsley to the Bernabeu. So
we should probably also use this from Barnsley to Bernabeu. So he joins us for the City preview.
And next week when I'm sat in that Playa Mayor Square, just having some tapas. Them old days crossed my mind, and I realised how lucky I am to be going to the stadium. I love the Bernabeu. I love the history behind it. I think it's fantastic. It gives me shivers down my spine when I go in there. I just think it's awesome, and to see your team play there and see my team win there, it's brilliant, man. It's brilliant. This is what you live for, man. This is what you live for.
Bernabeu on the Champions League night is something really special, because Bernabeu in La Liga is different because we have a lot more season ticket holders and the older fans. But when you come to the Champions League, it's like season ticket holders don't get those tickets. So Bernabeu at the Champions League has a different set of crowd. And when Real Madrid, especially when Real Madrid start putting pressure on the opponents, it's really difficult for the opposition team to play at the Bernabeu.
I've got to admit that the Atletico Stadium was fantastic. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I've never been before. And
have you been to the old one, the old Athletic Stadium, the Vicente Calderon, the previous? Have you been there?
I've never been to the Calderon. No, I've been around.
The thing about Atleti is, like, Calderon was a lot more passionate than the Metropolitano is. But the thing is, like, this particular game, Metropolitano matched the levels of Vicente Calderon.
That's what Steve is alluding to.
No, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was a bit of a nightmare because we got into town on the Tuesday and the Chelsea fans were there. So we went to Playa Mayor and there was Man City, Chelsea fans both in the square. It didn't end well. Let me tell you that.
Especially after how Tuchel had Pep's number last season. But yeah, that's another story in itself. But before we go, Steve, one small final question to you. It's almost like certain Rudiger is joining us. Tuchel, he came out in the post-match and said apparently Rudiger told him that he wants to leave. How do you rate him? Like, is he actually good enough?
To be honest, Matisse and a few of the Chelsea boys will tell you that he didn't always have a great start. There was talk of him before Tuchel came in. They were saying he can go. He's rubbish. He wasn't up to standard, so they wasn't happy with him. When Tuchel came in, he seemed to get a tune out of him, and now obviously he's a great player. He's a good player. You get him on a free transfer, and I think if he comes into Real Madrid side with the caliber of player you guys have got, it'd be a good signing. I mean, there's a lot of free transfers knocking about this summer. There's a lot of teams, especially Barcelona, they're sniffing round a few as well. But I think he's going to Real Madrid. I think he's going Real Madrid.
Yeah, for Maren, I think Rudiger is coming. The thing is, like, it's a good opportunity, so probably they're going to take it. Personally, I would probably have gone in a different direction, but when he's coming, we got to support him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, Steve, I have a quick question for you. It might not be quick, but then the thing is this. So I was actually just wondering, you know, like with Man City and Guardiola currently, like I think you can recall when like the Abu Dhabi group came, I think we have to, like, from the footballing perspective, we have to give them all the credit, you know. But what I was always thinking is that, you know, they've always set up City in such a way that it's the ideal place for Guardiola to work, whether it's Soriano, whether it's Tixi, you know, whether it's the footballing academy and all that. And like, you know, whether you like to admit it or not, you start to see like the end with Guardiola is there. So like, do you kind of feel like fear for the future of what's going to happen afterwards? Like, you laid all the groundwork for just this person to come and he came, he achieved the success, but then what's going to happen afterwards?
No, to be honest, I think what they're trying to implement is a style of football that's associated with the football club. So Pep Guardiola has been brought in with Tixi Soriano to implement this style, and it will always go down as Pep's style. But every football club now in the Premier League is trying to play Pep's style. All the goalkeepers are playing out from the back. People are trying it. So I think that Man City's academy from top to bottom are all playing this way of football. I think this is the future of Man City. Even when Pep leaves, this is the way, the blueprint for the next manager will have to come in and follow this step. I don't think it'll be a case of like new manager, new ideas. I think it'll be basically getting somebody to come in and implement the club's ideas. So it'll be like you come to Manchester City and you play this way. The academy plays this way. The owners expect you to play this way. This is the way it goes. I do believe Pep Guardiola is going to sign a new contract. So I have been told that. So hopefully he will sign a new deal, another couple of years. And then I think it's just a case of getting the right man in. At the minute, I don't think there's a great lot of great managers out there. I'll be honest. I think it's one of the it's bad when probably the most sought after manager in Europe is Ten Hag, who's a manager in Holland, and he's going to a team that's in a mess in Man United. So he's either going to do a miracle, and he's going to turn that club around and be a hero, or he'll ruin his career, because after you've been there, you don't get many. There's not many people knocking on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's door for a job at the minute.
He'll be chilling in Molde soon. So for one conclusion with Ole. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, you know, man like Steve straight out of Stockport joining us on a pod. It's been pretty amazing. And any last thoughts, guys?
No, it's been good, mate. Listen, you lads, thanks for having me on, first of all. And listen, just enjoy the game, man. Enjoy the game. I'm sure we'll touch base after this, and then next week, if we can squeeze something in before the return, I'll try and squeeze something in. But thanks, guys. Keep doing what you're doing, lads. And you know, if I can help you in any way, if you want any of the big six boys on, give me a shout. I'll get them on for you. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell them to stop being
the big dogs, The big dogs.
Get the big dogs on for you, mate. No problem.
It's been a pleasure, Steve.
Thanks for being here with us.
No problem at all, fellas. Cheers, lads.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. It's a pleasure.
Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.
Come on, sir.